Hello everyone, today we will talk about the 4,000-year history of Vietnam according to the history books collected by ancient Vietnamese people who were formed from 2879 BC to the Spring and Autumn Warring States period due to pressure from the kings. The Chu and Tan kingdoms in northern China and the wave of Huaxia people will be affected by war from the north, so gradually the ancient Vietnamese tribes will lose their territory. Some Vietnamese tribes will be assimilated into the Hoa Ha people and join forces. The Bach Viet alliance disintegrated and the Bach Viet people founded the Van Lang kingdom ruled by the Hung kings. In 257 BC, Tuc Phan, the leader of the O Viet tribe, one of the Bach Viet tribes north of Van Lang, defeated the 18th Hung king and confirmed Van Lang in his tribe to establish the state of Olac. Calling himself king in Duong, he based his capital at Co Loa in Dong An district, Hanoi today. Since 208 BC, a general of the Qin dynasty, Tru De, ordered Qin Shi Huang to conquer the south and attack Olac. When Duong Vong fell, he fell into the hands of the Qin dynasty. Tru De took advantage of the weakening Qin dynasty to cut off Nam Hai district, then he sent troops to annex the territories of Olac, Man Viet and Gue Lam district to establish the Tru dynasty, naming the country Nam Viet, the capital being Phien Ngang, claiming equal status with the Han dynasty. In 111 BC, Han Emperor Wu sent more than 100,000 troops to annex the country of Nam Viet. Nam Viet was defeated and the territory was annexed into the Han Empire. From then on, the Vietnamese people began the period of 1,000 years of northern domination, 540 AD, Thanh Nguyen dynasty. The confidant named Tadin ruled Ha Kok, leading to Hai Ba Trung's rebellion against the Eastern Han dynasty. The districts of Jiao Chi, Q Chan, Not Nam, and Hop Pho all responded to the two women taking 65 citadels in the Lin Nam region. However, the uprising quickly ended by Ma Vien in 43, in 541 Lai Bai rose up in rebellion and drove out the Luong dynasty's colonial rulers after 3 times defeating the Liang army. In the following years, Lai Bai proclaimed himself Emperor. Lai Nam De founded the Van Xian kingdom in 544 with the capital in Long Bien. The entire land of Jiao Chao including north and north-central of Vietnam today and part of Guangdong and Guangxi of China were all part of China. Control of the early Lai dynasty. In 545, the Liang dynasty sent Tran Ba Tien and Duong Phu to attack Van Xian. Lai Nam De lost the battle and handed over military power to Tru Quang Phuc after Lai Nam De's death. Tru Quang Phuc drove out the Liang army in 550. Defending the kingdom of Van Xian, he proclaimed himself King Tru Viet. In 571, a nephew of Lai Nam De, Lai Phat II, usurped the throne of King Tru Viet, continuing to maintain independence for the Vietnamese people for another 20 years. In 581, the Sui dynasty was established in China. From 602, the Sui king led troops to attack our country. Lai Phat II surrendered, and our country fell into the hands of northern foreigners again. After that, the Tang dynasty replaced the Sui dynasty to rule our country. In 713, Mai Tuc Loan led the insurgent army in Hon Chau against the Tang dynasty's domination and won. He ascended the throne and proclaimed himself Mai Hac Da. In 722, the Tang dynasty sent 100,000 troops to attack our country. After many harsh battles, Mai Hac Da was defeated. He withdrew his troops into the forest, became seriously ill and died, and our country fell into the hands of the Tang dynasty. By 763, the Tang dynasty was weak and lost control of many localities due to many peasant uprisings, typically the Feng Hung uprising, 766 to 791, the Duong Tan uprising, 819 to 791. 820, in 866 the Tang dynasty regained control and changed the name to Tin Hai Quan. From the end of the 9th century, the Tang dynasty was seriously weakened. In 905, a local Vietnamese leader, Cuc Thoa Du, stood up and proclaimed himself the governor of the naval province, and occupied the capital Dai La to begin the period. Vietnamese People's Autonomy. In 930, the Southern Han Army invaded our country. The head of our country at that time, Cuc Thoa Mai, could not resist and was captured and sent to southern Han. In 931, Duong Din Nei's resistance war was successful and he was honored as Teat Du Porcelain. In 937, Kieo Tsong Tien killed Duong Din Nei and usurped leadership. No Gwyn, Duong Din Nei's son-in-law, started an army to conquer and ask for help from the southern Han country. In 938, the southern Han army sent Hong Tao to our country along the waterway, intending to coordinate with Kieo Tsong Tien to defeat No Gwyn, but before the southern Han army arrived, No Gwyn defeated Kieo Tsong Tien. When the southern Han army marched into our country, they fell into No Gwyn's ambush at the mouth of the Bok Dang River. The southern Han army was defeated and destroyed, Hong Tao died in battle, the disillusioned southern Han army invaded. Vietnam officially entered the era of independence when No Gwyn defeated the Nam Han invaders. In 938, he ascended the throne and proclaimed himself No Vong with his capital in Ko Loa, ending 1,000 years of domination by northern feudalism. When No Gwyn died, his brother-in-law, Duong Tam Ka, robbed him, causing the leaders of other places to refuse to be submissive, rising up and commanding troops to attack each other. History books call it the Rebellion of the 12 Warlords. This period lasted longer. 20 years and ended in 967 when Din Bo Lin unified 12 warlords. Because he fought, he won, so he was called Van Tang Vong. In 968 Van Tang Vong ascended the throne, that is, King Din Tien Hong named the country Dai Co Viet with the capital in Hoa Lu. In 979 Din Tien Hong and his eldest son were murdered, his second son was Din Ton. He replaced Din Phi Da. At that time, Din Ton was only 6 years old, so all power was concentrated in the hands of Empress Dowager Duong Van Na and the second-in-command of Thap Dao General Lu Hon. Now the Song dynasty heard that Din Tien Hong had passed away, so they sent troops to invade our country with the support of Queen Mother Duong Van Na, the courtier who ceded the throne to Lu Hon. In 980, Lu Hon ascended the throne and proclaimed himself Dai Han Emperor. In 981, the Song army suddenly attacked Dai Co Viet, but thanks to Lu Hon's talent, he led the army to defeat the Song invaders. He was a person who had great contributions in defending the Song dynasty to keep the country peaceful. In 1005, Lo Long Din became king but was unpopular with the people. In 1009, Lo Long Din died and received the support of many people. Lai Tsong Yuan ascended the throne. The emperor is Lai Tai-tu. In 1010, the capital was moved from Hoa Lu to Dai La Citadel and this citadel was renamed Tang Long. During this dynasty, for the first time, the Lai dynasty was able to maintain its government for 216 years, unlike previous dynasties that only existed for more than a few decades. Entering the Lai dynasty, the country became stable and developed. The new Vietnamese emperors began making raids to expand their territory. In 1014, Dali General Don Kin Chi brought troops to occupy Chao Vai Long and Chao Du Kim, now in Tuan Quang province. King Lai Tai to sent his son Duk Ton Vong to defeat the Dai Lai army. On that occasion, the Lai dynasty annexed the area that is today Hajong into its territory. In 1054, King Lai Ton Tong changed the country's name to Dai Viet. In 1069, Lai Ton Tong attacked Kampa and captured the Kampa king and brought him to Tang Long. In order to be released, the king of Kampa cut off the land north of Kampa including 3 continents, Bo Chin, Ma Lin, and geography for Dai Viet. The land that is today Quang Binh province and northern Quang Tri. In 1072, King Lai Ton Tong lost his crown prince Can Duc, who was only 7 years old and ascended the throne. Queen Mother Lin Nan and Lieutenant Lai Thuong Kiet took charge of court affairs. In 1077, Song General Quach Quy commanded 300,000 troops to attack Dai Viet in the north in both water and land directions. Lai Thuong Kiet chose the decisive battle location at New Noyet River to build a defensive line on the southern bank and wait. Enemy. When the Song army entered, it was stopped at New Noyet River. The standoff lasted for a long time. The Song army was increasingly damaged due to lack of food and weapons. Finally, the Song army agreed to make peace and retreated to the country. In 1223 Tran Tu Khan died, power fell to his cousin Tran Thursday Du. In 1224, Tran Thursday Du forced King Hu Tong to become a monk to give the throne to his daughter, Lai Chiu Hong, then only 7 years old. After that, Lai Chiu Hong married Tran Can, then also only 8 years old, Tran Thursday Du's niece. In 1225, Lai Chiu Hong issued a decree ceding the throne to Tran Can, then Chiu Hong officially gave up his royal robes and invited Tran Can to become emperor, ending 216 years of the Lai dynasty, opening the era of the Tran dynasty. In 1258, Mongols attacked Dai Viet for the first time, but the entire First War only took place within about half a month with about 3 or 4 major battles. Mongolia suffered heavy losses, losing about 4 to 5 of its army. 27 years later, the Yuan Emperor Kublai Khan ordered the second invasion of Dai Viet. This time the war lasted about 2 to 6 months. The Yuan army prevailed in the early stages, later when the Yuan army regained power, facing difficulties in food supply. This time it was even more serious because the Yuan army was much larger than the previous time. The Tran dynasty implemented empty gardens, making it impossible for the Yuan army to get food from the indigenous people. After that, the Dai Viet army quickly reorganized their formation and waited for the tired enemy to lose their will. About 2 months after withdrawing to Ton Hoa, Dai Viet counterattacked along the Red River. Dai Viet troops took turns one victory at Qua Han to liberate Tang Long. After returning home defeated in 1285, the Yuan army reorganized its army to replenish its forces to take revenge. Learning from the previous failure, the Yuan army sent many ships carrying food by sea to return to attack Dai Viet for the third time. In nearly 4 months, the Yuan army was completely destroyed at Bok Dang River. The Yuan army's infantry, when passing through Bac Zhang and Lang Sun, were ambushed and attacked fiercely. After defeating the Mongol Yuan army for the third time, Dai Viet enjoyed a long period of stability and prosperous development. But from the reign of King Tran Du Tong onwards, Dai Viet had many signs of decline, and the Tran dynasty at times fell into the hands of foreign invaders from neighboring countries. During the reign of Tran Nha Tong, Ho Kui Lai emerged as a talented and respected politician. Thanks to that, when the Tran dynasty was in turmoil and recession in 1400, Ho Kui Lai came to power and changed the country's name to Dai Ngu to establish the capital in Ton Hoa. In 1401, Ho Kui Lai ceded the throne to his son, Ho Han Thuong. In 1406, the Ming dynasty sent troops to attack Dai Ngu. In 1407, Ho Kui Lai and his father were captured and killed. The Ming dynasty annexed Dai Ngu to become Jiao Qi district. Surname, Vietnam was colonized by China again after 500 years of independence and autonomy. The harsh and brutal rule of the Ming people made our people extremely resentful. In that context, in 1418, the hero Lu Loi rose up, meaning in Lam Sun Ton Hoa area. In 1427, he led the army to defeat 150,000 relief troops and beheaded Lu Tang. In 1428, he ascended the throne as emperor, Lu Taitu, and established the later Lu dynasty. After 5 generations of kings until the reign of King Lu Chiu Tong, Mac Dang Dung abolished the throne of Lu Chiu Tong and gave it to Lu Kung Hong. In 1527, Mac Dang Dung forced Lu Kung Hong to cede the throne to him, and the Mac dynasty was formed. In 1533, the former ruler of the late Lu dynasty, Nguyen Kim, did not obey the Mac dynasty, so he went to Ton Hoa to form an army and then welcomed Lu Nin to become emperor. Seoul. After Nguyen Kim died, in 1546 King Lu appointed Nguyen Kim's son-in-law, Trin Kim, to replace him. In 1558, Nguyen Kim's second son, Nguyen Hong, was afraid that his brother-in-law Trin Kim would harm him, so he applied to defend Thuan Hoa and the land. Quang Nam. The people often called Lord Nguyen Lord Trinh used the name of King Lo to recapture Tang Long Citadel. The Mac army fled north and was given Chao Bang by the Ming dynasty. Both Lord Trinh and Lord Nguyen belonged to the dynasty. Later Lo, but in reality, they were different, both created their own forces and things. In 1627, using the excuse that Nguyen Phuc Nguyen did not pay taxes, the Trinh family brought troops to attack. In 1771, Nguyen Nach and his two brothers, Nguyen Hue and Nguyen Lu, rose up in Tay Son Hamlet with the slogan of taking from the rich and giving to the poor. In 1778, the uprising was successful. Nguyen Nach declared himself Emperor Tai Duc and founded the Tay Son dynasty. During this period, Nguyen Phuc An, the son of Nguyen Phuc Luan, still wanted to regain the inheritance of the Nguyen lords, so after escaping, he asked for help from the King of Siam to bring troops to fight the Tay Son dynasty in 1784. In early 1785, Nguyen Hue sent soldiers to ambush at Rach Gam Zoe Mut to defeat the Siamese Nguyen army. In 1786, Nguyen Hue led his army to attack Phu Xian and then attacked Tang Long. Tay Son controlled almost the entire territory of Vietnam. In 1788, Lo Chiu Thong ran to ask for aid from the Qing army, bringing 290,000 troops to occupy Tang Long. In this situation, Nguyen Hue ascended the throne, taking the title Quang Trung, and commanded the Tay Son army to defeat 290,000 Qing invaders. Nguyen Nach at this time called himself Tay Son Vong. From 1787 to 1789, while Nguyen Hue's friend dealt with the Qing army in Bac Ha, Nguyen An regained the land of Nam Ha. In 1792, King Quang Trung Nguyen Hue passed away and the Tay Son dynasty quickly weakened. Finally, in 1802, Nguyen An defeated the Tay Son and ascended the throne, naming the reign Gia Long, naming the country Vietnam, and establishing the Nguyen dynasty, which lasted for by 1945, Vietnam's territory was unified for the first time after nearly 300 years of civil war division. From 1858 to 1945, Vietnam was invaded by the French colonialists, who tried to exploit Vietnam's resources and human resources. The late kings of the Nguyen dynasty had no right to decide national policies. They were just puppet kings, not only that they also exploited the people. In 1945, under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam headed by Chairman Ho Chi Minh, the Vietnamese people overthrew the French government, overthrew the feudal government of the Nguyen dynasty to establish the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. In 1954, the Democratic Republic of Vietnam defeated the will of the second invasion of the French colonialists with the victory of Dien Bien Phu resounded throughout the 5 continents, forcing France to sign the Geneva Accords and withdraw troops from Indochina. Also in this year, America replaced France and jumped into South Vietnam. Established the puppet government of the Republic of Vietnam. After waging many wars without winning, in 1973 the U.S. was forced to sign the Paris Agreement. This agreement is meant for America to withdraw from South Vietnam with honor. In 1975, the Southern Liberation Army launched a general attack and uprising in Saigon to overthrow the government of the Republic of Vietnam and unify the country. In 1976, the country's official name was the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The Vietnam Labour Party was changed to the Communist Party of Vietnam, and the capital was Hanoi. Saigon was renamed Ho Chi Minh City. Since 1977, Khmer Rouge regular troops advanced more than 10 kilometers deep into Vietnamese territory, occupying some areas in An Giang province. By the end of 1977, An Giang border province was placed in a state of war. On December 31, 1977, 6 divisions of the Vietnam People's Army attacked deep inside Cambodia. On January 5, 1978, they withdrew, taking with them a number of important figures from the Cambodian side, including the Prime Minister. Future General Hun Sr., on December 13, 1978, armed and supported by China, the Khmer Rouge mobilized 10 out of 19 divisions of about 50,000 to 60,000 troops to invade Vietnam across the border. In early 1979, Vietnam launched a general counterattack across the entire Cambodian border. Vietnam joined forces with Cambodia's Revolutionary Army to liberate Cambodian farmers from genocide. In March 1979, China mobilized dozens of divisions to suddenly attack the entire northern border of Vietnam with propaganda to counterattack the invading Vietnamese army. The Chinese army used the human wave tactic to penetrate deep into Vietnamese territory. The Chinese army suffered too many losses, so after only 2 weeks of fighting, they retreated and declared victory. In 1991, Vietnam and China normalized relations. In 1995, the US and Vietnam officially normalized relations, from which Vietnam officially integrated with countries around the world. Currently, we will enjoy unified peace after fierce battles to protect the country. But there are still hostile forces that continue to sabotage Vietnam's economy, politics, and territorial waters. Therefore, we must join hands to protect and preserve our independence and territorial integrity. If you have just finished watching the video, please let me know what you think by commenting below what you think about this video. If you like, please like and share, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next interesting content.